We need the alarm sound, the hip hop alarm. We're back, bitches. A bitch is back. Which one is the title of the episode? I don't know. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast of and for the people, the greatest football podcast on earth, Francamente. My name is Franca. I'm your host, and I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Are you ready to bias your football content? Let's go. Let's do the sound of the fucking episode. Hi, guys. Hey, y'all. Oh, my goodness. A bitch is back. A bitch is back. Did y'all miss me? I know you did. So much has changed. It's been so long, unintentionally. Look, I did not set out to take a break. There were so many weeks where I was like, this is the week where we'll record. We're going to record this week. And then it just never happened. Life happened. Stuff went off the rails. I was in shambles. I was going through it. I still kind of am. Everything's insane. Good stuff happened too. I traveled. I have so many stories about England and football to tell. The end of the semester got a little hectic. Things just life happened. And I had kind of set myself up for this, kind of self-imposed stress of being we have to, adhere to this thing. And it's we're going with the flow. We're doing what the fuck we want. We have no one to answer to. And sometimes you just need to recharge. I know that last year, even when shit got the roughest, I think I only missed an episode or a week of recording or two, but this time is different and I'm not sorry about it. But I'm so happy to be back. I missed y'all. So many changes, starting with this haircut. If you are watching on YouTube, and if you aren't, please seek out the pictures or go check out YouTube. I cut off a foot of hair. I have a bob now, a little bob, and I'm here for it. Look, this is what happens, right? I hadn't gotten my hair cut for 2 years, probably, maybe more. I don't even remember when I got a haircut last, truly. And it had gotten to the point where it's I love the long mermaid hair, but it looked dead. It looked bad. It was I know exactly when it's time to get a haircut, and it's when I start to wear my hair up in a bun every single day. And that's what was happening. And I was it's time. And I'm so excited that I got to go back to my queen, Gina, at Bliss Hair Salon, because I used to go to her. That was my favorite person to ever do my hair. Worked with her at Chili's. Shouts to the Chili's crew. Yes, I worked at Chili's for a long time, and that was honestly one of my favorite jobs of all time. Waiting tables, I was so good at it. I literally can talk to a wall, and I'm so cute. I literally would sometimes make $1,000 cash in a weekend. That was also before, obviously it's manual labor, and it's open, close both days. But literally imagine walking away. And that was also before it became such a mandatory thing to use credit cards. It was back in the day before credit cards existed. No, but it was a lot more common to pay cash, and it was definitely more common to tip in cash. So we would literally take home cash, and you reported some of it. But no, it was such an amazing time in my life because everyone was young, fun, it was amazing. I loved waiting to truly it was one of my favorite jobs. And honestly, I think if anything should be compulsory instead of the army, it should be food service work for everyone. Because some people are miserable ass bitches. You should never leave your house. If you don't have money to tip, do not go. Okay. Because the issue with tipping is systemic. And we do have to be mad at owners and the system or whatever. But in the meantime, people got to pay bills. People got to live. You know what I mean? Sometimes your paycheck when you wait tables is $0. So if you're one of those people that rails against tipping culture, but you also don't tip, you're a fucking asshole. So I will never tip less than 20%. Never. And that's for mediocre service. And so always above and beyond that, as much as I can, whatever I have, I will give as much as I can because I know what that work is like, and it fucking sucks in the sense that like there's no stability, right? And sometimes, and this, depending on where you work, there's no set schedule, there's no guaranteed hours, and then on top of that, you get paid $2.50 per hour, right? So unfortunately, that's the system we live in. Going out, like when you budget for going out, you got to budget for tipping, and that is my PSA for the day. But anyway, Chili's days, Chili's gang. Back to my J Ling's sign here. My girl Gina, and so now that I'm back in the area, I was like, girl, I need a haircut. I don't trust anyone else. And here we are, cut off like a foot of hair. It'll grow back. I have no, literally, people are like, oh my God, such a drastic. I mean, everyone loves it, but people are like, oh, how do you feel? Like, I'm like, how am I gonna fucking feel about hair? Who the fuck, like, what? What do you mean? It's gonna grow back. Anyway, haircut happened. What am I wearing today? It is an Arsenal kit, commemorative Ian Wright edition. It's pretty sick, actually. Like, if you're not watching on YouTube, check it out. It's like the print, like the pattern is all like in commemoration of Wrighty. Some where his face appears with the teeth, with the golden tooth. Anyway, it's a great kit. Shouts to my plug for lending it to me. Love it. Love it so much. I know that really we're in. Oh, I should have put this on. Let me put it on now to show y'all what I have. The coveted. This has to be like a header, some sort of image, like header image. I need a screenshot of this. New Jersey. Look. Listen, since we last spoke, okay, I have been networking with literal royalty and fucking FIFA. The coveted scarf. You don't know the way people wanted this scarf at the event I was at with FIFA. And I got it. Because I've got just all of the swag. Okay. Do I look like what? Do I wear it like a nun? I'm gonna wear it like this. Listen, don't talk to me. Do not talk to me. Okay. The final of the World Cup is gonna be in fucking New Jersey. Don't talk to me. Let's not even go there. Okay. Like, let's not even go there. I'm obsessed with everything about us in Jersey. I'm wearing this like a very classy, very fashionable queen. It goes. But yeah, so crazy shit. Let's get into it. That's the fit right today. We've got the New York, New Jersey scarf for the World Cup final 2026 and the Arsenal kit. What's going on? What is going on in my life? So much. So, for a little bit, I got disheartened. Part of the reason why every single week when I was like, I'm going to record, and then I like just wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Partially because so many things were disheartening in the football world. Like, don't talk to me, literally. Don't talk to me about Champions League, like depressing, all that stuff. The league, fucking Arsenal could have had it if they had just won one more game in the season. We all can get mad at those last few games and like, okay, but if you are counting on literal Pep to mess up at the end, that's on you. Like, all you had to do, Arsenal, because in the moment, I know we all get fucking mad and we're like, oh my God, whatever. I wanted Arsenal to win the league so bad. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm not an Arsenal fan. Okay. But and so it didn't happen. You get mad, but then you're like, they literally had so many games they fumbled that they could have just fucking even one more tie than it's anything, right? One more point, right? Like they would have had it. So I don't want to talk. Well, I guess no, they did need a win. Anyway, regardless. Depressing, right? Everything was depressing. The La Liga depressing. Everything's depressing. So I was like, I'm gonna fucking get on there and talk about, right? In those moments. Still to this day, everything fucking sucks. But there's moments of joy to be had. So let's talk about the royalty first. So I went to England. For those of you that don't know, I was nominated for an award called the Women Changing the World Awards. Update. We've had a second audio issue. A second fucking audio issue has hit the towers. Got back up. we've got, in addition to the fit, which is my backup headphones. I look more official though now, like a real podcaster with my Beats. So here's the story about the Beats. I've got the rose gold Beats Solo, like all the, Instagram girlies, whatever, like influencers have it. Now I'm wearing too much. Let me lose the scarf for now. I love these. So I have had these for years, literal years. I mean, since they first came out, and I use them. And then when the AirPods came out, I kind of like started to use those more. And then when I moved and all the transition and all that stuff, like I just so when one has ADHD, sometimes what happens is what we call the out of sight, out of mind syndrome. And sometimes this affects us in different ways. Like you forget, for example, that you have certain leftovers in the fridge and then they go bad, but you would have eaten them, but then like you forgot because like things got, put in the front, blah, blah, whatever. And that also is true about all of my belongings that I don't see on a daily basis. So like these had ended up in storage in one of my tech boxes. Found them and I was like, it was like open up a new present. So then I charged them and I knew that like another thing about ADHD is that we avoid, so avoidance, right? So I was like, I didn't want to deal with like plugging them in and having to figure out if they work, blah blah whatever. But the universe said, nah, bitch, you're using them. They look more official, like podcasting headphones, right? And my AirPods just died. So here we are, just going with the flow. Okay. So we're talking about depression, and how often. But then I was like, we're having audio issues again, y'all. I can't do this. Hello. Then I was like, so I don't remember what I was already saying, but the headphones, the speakers, blah, blah, whatever. So now I look more official like a podcaster. So now I was avoiding having to plug them in. And then the universe said, these are the headphones for now. And here we are. Tune in again for the fit. If you're not watching on YouTube, that now includes the podcaster headphones. So yeah, so I was nominated for an award called the Women Changing the World Awards. And what a title, right? What a title. The awards are presented by Sarah, Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, or Fergie, as I call her, my close personal friend. Listen, y'all, I am 1 degree away of separation now from fucking those fucking assholes like Prince William and all those fucking assholes. Okay. So I hate royalty. I do. From a fundamental anti colonization stance. And also, unfortunately, we have to survive under capitalism. And what that means is that I have to try to get this business off the ground so that I can make some money so that I can pay some bills, right? And that entails some schmoozing, whatever bullshit. So I was nominated for these awards by 9 people, which was like unheard of. People get nominated by like one person, if anything. So in the category, so I was nominated and then I was a finalist in the category that's presented by Sarah, Duchess of York. So there were like 50 categories of awards. And one was presented by Sarah, which was mine. It was called the Unsung Hero Award. I knew nothing about this going in. I have a lot of thoughts now on the whole process and the organization, but I'm not going to share them yet publicly. But so I'm nominated in Sarah's category, right? So she like Fergie literally read my name. No one else, no other nominees or finalists got their names read out. Like they just went quickly through them when they announced the awards, and they were like first place, second place, third place, first place, like that, like real quick. And mine, she like went up, read our name. So there's a video of her reading my name out. Literally, like Sarah Duchess of York had said my name, like. So we're at this gala because the most of the awards were presented in the afternoon, but the major awards, which mine was, and all I could think of, and maybe we could get this image in there of a Christmas Story when they get the leg lamp in the mail, and the dad goes, "It's a major award." It's a major award. It was a major award. So mine was major. So it was presented at night at the gala. So I go to Windsor, UK, stay in this literal castle. Like it was insane. I went with my mom. It was such a great trip. Like this, I've never stayed at at a hotel that night. So it really was like a resort, but not in like the tropical sense. It was just like that they had so much stuff on campus. You really didn't need to leave. It was in Windsor, close to the airport, close to Heathrow. Beautiful, beautiful place. So we're like doing all this stuff for the awards, blah, blah, whatever. Sarah says my name. I did not win. I knew I wasn't going to. There's a lot of thoughts I have and I about the process, and I will maybe share them publicly someday. Today's not that day. I didn't win, but she said my name. And then I was like, it was an honor to be a finalist, all that stuff. And then I see her. So there were tiers to like paying for the conference piece, like for paying for you had to pay for the event, right? And there were tiers to it. Like you could pay for a regular peasant thing, which is all I was able to afford, and that was already with my like family's help. And then there was like a VIP level, which cost like £1,000. Like, I mean, the conference itself was like $250, which like is a normal conference price, but like one would think if you're nominated for an award, you shouldn't have to pay, but that's a whole other story. So then there were VIP tiers. I could not even ever have the money, nor probably even if I did, I would not pay like for what, like I didn't know anything about it. So the VIP thing, among other things, came with a like reception with Sarah before the gala, and you got to get like pictures with her and stuff like that. Now, royal protocol says you can't ask a royal for a picture up as a peasant, right? And all of this stuff. There was royal protocol around the whole thing. She had a handler that put on her lipstick for her. Like it was a lot. So, but me being myself, I was like, look, I'm nominated in her category. I had the chance because we sat literally, our table at the gala was one table away. It was like, I don't know how a peasant got so close to her, but it was like us. And then literally she was at the next table. I could see her the whole night. That's how I knew she had a handler and all that. And like didn't put on her own lipstick. So I see her, she walks right by my table, and I was like, this is my chance. I was barefoot because I was wearing heels. If you know me at all, you know I do not wear heels. But recently I've worn heels for two things, and one was that gala and the other one's the FIFA event, which I'll tell you all about. So I was wearing heels, but I didn't have them on. Like we were sitting the whole time in the chair, like waiting for all these awards to be announced. So I just had my shoes off under the table. So I see her go like get her lipstick put on, and I was like, should I ask her for a picture? Mom was like, yeah. So I go up to her and I backed her into a corner because I know she didn't want to say yes to a peasant. I know she didn't, but she couldn't say no to me because the way I went up to her and approached her was, hello, whatever. I'm nominated in your category. It would be lovely to get a picture. And she could not say, how are you going to be the person that presents my award and not take a picture with me? So I got a picture. So it's hilarious because the people that paid VIP thought that they had a unique opportunity to get a picture with her. And I think I was the only person that got one that didn't have VIP. And people got mad at me. I don't know. But it was it was a vibe, y'all. It was a vibe. It was crazy. And so I'll be able to like exploit that and hopefully, I don't know, get something out of it for my business. I don't really know. I'm like in such a place of just lack of hope and all these things that are going on. So that happened. Cool stuff. So I traveled to England. And so like, because I love England so much, I was like, and my mom was coming with me. I was like, well, let's make a trip out of it. She's never been to Europe at all, which we still didn't go to Europe. We went to England, but hashtag leave. Hashtag Brexit. But we were like, let's make a week out of it. So we wanted to like see like Marx's gravestone, and we went to my mom wanted to go to Manchester, Liverpool, so we did it. So we did Windsor. And that was an amazing time. And it was just like the gala and whatever. And then we did like sightseeing tourism in London, Manchester, and Liverpool. And in every single city, we have at least one football story, right? So we also, by the way, visited 5 grounds, Arsenal, Liverpool and Everton, City and United. And like we got pictures there. And that was like a cute thing. That was like, oh, let's try, because in Manchester, Manchester is relatively small in the sense that like so much is accessible. So like, even though we had one full day there, one full day in Manchester plus 2 half days. pretty much so like the way it worked out. And so on the full day, we like did as much as we could. We ate at Pep Guardiola's restaurant, by the way. Delicious. We hoped we would see him, but unfortunately we didn't. Also didn't see him at the grounds. But that's fine. It was after the season ended. He was probably in, well, we found out later that he was in the US actually. He was in Boston. Ew. The Boston Celtics. But yeah, we did some cool stuff. Literally did stuff related to football in every single city. But I think I've talked long enough. I'm out of the loop, so I normally internally know about when I'm halfway done with the episode. And I'm gonna say now. So let's go on break. We'll be back and we'll talk about England. And we're back. And we are back. So we're talking about England. Oh, I also have to tell you about FIFA. I have to tell you about FIFA. I will not forget. So England was amazing. So in London we went to the Arsenal Stadium. Everywhere that we went in London, there was some sort of football reference, right? Like, because obviously football is like huge. First of all, we were there, unfortunately, the same week as the Champions League final, which was in London. And it fucking sucked because there were Real Madrid fans everywhere. Like, fuck that club forever. And so we kept like trying to avoid it as much as we could. Actually, we saw a lot more Dortmund fans out and about, like a lot more Dortmund jerseys than Real Madrid jerseys come by. Like, what's the word? Aggregate. But you know, obviously, I guess like it's easier. I don't know, for Germans to get there. I mean, we still saw plenty of Real Madrid fans, but especially at the airport the day after, it was disgusting. But everywhere there were football references and like stuff, you know, like jerseys and like whatever. Like it's a wild thing. I truly do love England. I haven't been there since 2019, which feels like such a short time ago, but it really wasn't that short of a time ago. It was obviously definitely before COVID, and like that's a whole lifetime, you know. So I hadn't traveled internationally for so long, so I was so excited to travel internationally, and I personally love England with all of the contradictions that comes with in terms of colonizing. But let me do another parentheses here, okay? Because I wouldn't be me if I didn't talk about decolonization. So there is so much hypocrisy because now we're obviously like we're in Euros time, and also Copa America. As of time of recording, it's starting tonight. Tonight's the first game. By the time this drops, we will have had several games. I'm going to the Uruguay versus Bolivia game, by the way. So we're in international like football period, right? So I'm watching the Euros and I see so much fucking bullshit. Like just today, there was that ridiculous Alexi Lalas moment with fucking Carly Lloyd, who are both fucking fascists, right? But even within that, like, even when they're both fascists, like Alexi Lalas is still a fucking misogynist. So he was so rude to her about her pregnancy. He was so weird about her pregnancy. He was like, is that a human baby? Like, it was the fucking just weirdest thing. But then they both were ignorant as fuck. They got asked that question about the best player in the world, is it Messi? And she was like, well, yeah, but also we have other people in the discussion like Bellingham and fucking Pulisic. Like, are you like all joking aside about how fucking delusional United Stations are? All joking aside about that, okay? How like what an embarrassment that those are the people you have commentating on a fucking global event. of any sort. Like, are you stupid? I listen, I can't go on a rant about that right now, but Colin, so I'm watching the Euro Cup and so many people hate England, understandably so. Um, but I have a real issue with United Stations who hate England and claim that it's for colonization reasons. How are you going to be the single biggest threat to freedom, the single biggest terrorist country in the world, the single biggest colonizer in the world in 2024, and pretend to care about colonization? No, baby. What is you doing? So it's a no from me when people go out on that like thing, right? So I always have a caveat. Of course I hate England. Of course I hate Spain. Of course I hate France on a philosophical level. And yet, how has England, the original colonizer, figured out how to treat the people that live on that land humanely by having health care that works? Because people will tell you so much bullshit about the NHS. And by the way, shouts to George, shouts to Daniel. We met up with my friends in England. Like, it was like a really good trip. Okay. So George, my mate, he lives in Manchester. And we had a brilliant conversation about this, right? Like about the NHS and like how much public medicine actually does for real human beings from a person who lives there. Okay. How are you going to tell me that in the single biggest colonizer in the history of the world, historically, because now currently it's the US, right? They still figure out ways to be more humane. There is a different vibe of caring about each other, of like the way that they are like not like as obsessed with policing each other, just in general. Like, police aren't allowed to have guns, they have nightsticks. Like, it doesn't mean police brutality doesn't exist, it doesn't mean racism doesn't exist, but it is unhinged here. And you really, really notice how much this place fucking sucks when you leave, even when you go to England. And so that's where I have that nuance moment, right? Where people are like, oh, the whole world hates England. Don't jump on that bandwagon, buddy. If you're United Station, let me hold up a mirror to you, okay, for the way that you act about England. So all of this to say, we're watching the Euros, and all of this discourse is fucking pissing me off. So England, I love London so much. I love Manchester as a city. Even in London, though, you could see like the hierarchy, right? Like every single person that we talked to, a lot of cab drivers in London were like, Manchester, why are you going there? Like, Liverpool, why are you going there? We're like, what? Like, do people not travel? Like, it was just, whatever. So beautiful, beautiful time. I'll highlight a couple of things. Seeing the grounds, amazing. I love Arsenal. Our Arsenal stadium. Listen, I am not an Arsenal fan. Okay, I will repeat this all episode. Maybe actually that's the name of the episode. But Arsenal is probably the stadium I've visited the most outside of this country. Outside of this country, I've been there so much, like literally. So I went to Arsenal, took some pictures with my mate Henri. Amazing, amazing. And in Manchester we saw City and United because my mom says she's a City fan. She just likes Pep Guardiola. Let's not come for her. And then Liverpool and Everton. So we also had a cab driver in London. So I guess I'll start with London, and who ended up being so cool. He was like driving us, we're chatting, everyone would start the conversation. Oh, where are you from? I had two answers. One was a joke that killed every time, which is I'm from Jersey, the new one. And then the second answer that I would give is from South America, unfortunately live in the US right now. Just to set the tone, we have plenty of cab drivers, but one of them was cool, and not a fascist. And so we get to talking, and he goes, "Oh, I'm in New Jersey. I actually lived in East Orange for a while." We're like, "What the fuck?" It's so random. So we got to talking. He like lived there for a bit when he was a teen because his mom moved there, and then he hated it and he wanted to go back. So his excuse to come back was he got a tryout with what he first just said was a professional club. Now, don't think I had mentioned football, or maybe I had. I don't remember if I was like, oh, I kind of like mentioned, I kind of love football. Here's my thing. He's like, what team? I'm like, I always answer the question differently in the UK than I do here because I don't want to disrespect anyone. I'm pretty new to Premier League, and I'm not a great fan of United at that point. If you really break it down, because I'm half the time I'm like, I fucking hate y'all. So I kind of tell him the story, and so he's when he said like, "Oh, professional club," I'm like, "Which one?" Turns out it was Tottenham, and he did play for Tottenham, and for a while, and so his name's Tony. I wasn't able to. That's all he said. So when I asked him his name, he said Tony, and I didn't want to push to be like, "What's your actual name?" So I could Google you. Like, no, and so like he's a black man, amazing, amazing person, older. So I think he probably would played like at the like I think he's a little bit older than like Henri. Okay, so before that era, but I wasn't able to find anything online of a Tony or an Anthony, and maybe he lied. Maybe he didn't want me to know his name. I'm fine. That's respectable. Like maybe there's a whole thing with like professionalism, whatever. He was like an official black cab driver, which by the way, I found out like sometimes in London, like it could take like years to actually get the license to be a black cab driver. It's like a whole thing. You like take tests and everything. Like it was pretty cool. So he took the test and everything. So he's like an official cab driver, like black cab driver. We're talking about so many things. So it turned out he played for Tottenham. I was like, what the hell? Like, what? And so it was a really cool ride. He's not the one that took us to Arsenal, but he actually told us a story, which I was like, what? Like, he was an Arsenal fan his whole life until he played for Tottenham, and then he became a Tottenham fan. And I was like, that's weird. And he said that his kids roast him and they say, like, you made us a fucking fans of a team that doesn't have any trophies. We could have been Arsenal fans. Look, like, look at us, that kind of thing. It was a really cool thing, cool ride. So we went to Arsenal, took some pics. But the amazing and then we went to Manchester, and again because things are so accessible, like Manchester's like fairly small. We were like, okay, we're gonna go. We saw the city stadium, the Etihad. Um, disgusting. It's so disgusting. It's ugly. It's depressing. I hate it. And then I was like, we can't go from one to the other. Like, we can't get in a cab and go, will you go to? So, like, then we did other stuff in between. We did like, the canal and stuff. We did the afternoon tea. All this. Then we went to United, just got some pictures there, and then we went on our merry way. And then we also in Manchester did Pep's restaurant, Tas Catala. And honestly, I did it. So when it first opened, I went, and it was amazing. And it's still a little bit. So we did, that like the quality has kind of gone down for Toast. It was amazing, and now it's like a little bit. I mean, it was fine, and it's not like the chef is a Michelin star chef. The restaurant's not a Michelin star restaurant, but that's because Manchester doesn't have Michelin like abilities or whatever. Like only certain cities can be Michelin starred, but he is a Michelin star chef, but he wasn't even there. So at that point, you just get like I think they get like lazy. I mean, it was fine. It was fine. It just wasn't like amazing. Also on the eve of on Champions League final eve, so the night before, we went to a restaurant that was a Spanish restaurant of tapas. That meal was really good. Thinking, that we would see so many Real Madrid fans. Luckily we didn't. So that was good because we were near Notting Hill, and like that restaurant like kind of came up. It was near us. We went to it. It was delicious. Um, but I think the best football story of the whole trip is in Liverpool. I had never been to Liverpool, so we stayed 3 nights in Manchester and did a full day trip to Liverpool. Did a lot of Beatles stuff. Shouts to the Beatles. I'm like a Beatles expert now. And since we were there, we did like a we did like a ferry ride, which was the coldest I've ever been in my entire life. And I literally in that moment was like, yep, I understand how the Titanic happened. Like it was fucking freezing. Everyone was talking about the Titanic because the Titanic left from Liverpool, but the Liverpudlians are very, very clear to make sure we all know that it was registered in Liverpool, but it was not built in Liverpool. That if they had built it, it wouldn't have sank. It was built in Belfast. Liverpool, closest I've ever been to Ireland, and I will get to Ireland someday. I really, really want to go. Amazing, and like I learned a lot about like the Scouse accent and like why it sounds so much like Irish because I guess like immigration, and there were like it's like 75% heritage, Irish heritage, like Liverpudlians are. So really cool boat ride. We did the open top bus, saw like all the major stuff, and in between there we got off the bus and we were like we obviously we wanted to see both grounds. I know they're very close to each other, but we were like, again, same thing. We can't take a cab in between. We can't get in on one from one stadium, go take us to the other one. So what do we do? All right, we'll pick one. It'll be Anfield because obviously. So, first of all, a thing about Liverpool is that cab drivers read actual literal books. I was like already that's such like a it's such a low bar, but the fact that they're like intellectually engaged because they were all waiting in a line, everyone was reading a book. The first one was reading a book about football. Well, the one that took us to so I get in, I was like, all right, we'll go to Anfield. You know, I hate Liverpool, but let me just see the stadium. I get in, I go, Anfield, please. He go, and then I had a moment of panic. I didn't see anything in the cab at that point, but I was like, shit, what if he's a toffee, right? So, and I was like, Anfield, please. Then I go, are you an Everton fan? And he pointed to the air freshener, which was an Everton air freshener. So he indeed was an Everton fan. I was like, ooh. I was like, well, I immediately was like, we want to go to Goodison too. It's just that like we figured we could only pick one. He's like, are you doing a tour? We were like, no. He was like, I'll take you to both. And we were like, if we could go to both, you know, just take some pictures. But I didn't mean like for him to take us. I just was like, I didn't want him to beat us up for because he was an Everton fan. He was like, I'll take you to both. No worries. I was like, what? Like, what a nice guy. So the whole time we're talking, he literally was like basically crying when he was talking about Everton like getting a new stadium and which we saw on the boat tour, the new stadium being built. And he was like, you know, we're back in the city or like whatever. He was like, like I mean, a hardcore since birth Everton fan, like, you know, season ticket holder, that whole thing. So he gave us also a real good like educational ride through Liverpool. Um, and even so we got to Anfield. He was like, go ahead. Did not even, he was like, didn't take collateral, nothing. He's like, I trust y'all, basically. Like, and just trusted us to come back to the cab. And so we're taking pictures around Anfield. That was nice. And then we get back in. He's like, all right, enough of the shithole. And then he took us to Goodison and like again, we cried, got pictures at Goodison, drove us back, drove by the new stadium, and just like he was like the tears, literally, he said. And just like learned so much. And what a nice like just disposition, right? And like so that was the football story there. Another note, we get into the last cab of the day there to take us to the train station. Guy goes, "Oh, same thing. Where are you from? Whatever." His first question was, do you like Trump?" We were like, "What on earth would possess you to ask that?" And I figured out it was because if we had said yes, he wouldn't have done the next thing, which was show us the book he was reading. When he lifts it up, it's okay to be mad about capitalism by Bernie Sanders. And so then we talked about capitalism and like how much everything sucks and whatever. What like I genuinely left Liverpool despite the fact that we had that cold day because it was cold as fuck, even though it's like technically summer, right? Or I guess spring at that point. Um, but it was no spring weather. It was like literally winter. I didn't have any coat or anything. I was like summer ready, right? I just had a jean jacket. Oh my God, it was so cold. But despite that, what a lovely fucking day in Liverpool. Shouts to Liverpool, the city. Really amazing stuff. Shouts to Manchester and London too. Amazing, amazing stuff. And yeah, and then we did like all of this Beatles stuff. It was just a nice little trip. I haven't been on vacation in years. Truly. Like I truly have not taken a vacation in years. Definitely haven't traveled internationally except for Montreal, which does count because in Montreal, you really feel like you left the States. Like, even though if you go to like Toronto or anywhere like that, it's like, it doesn't feel like a different country, right? Even though it is. But Montreal, you left the States, you know, you got to speak French. But like I hadn't gotten on a plane to go international like that in a while. So I was really happy to take that trip. So fun. And then the other thing I'll talk about is the FIFA event. So again, things happen to me sometimes that are like amazing. So I got accepted to this class that's like for Latina entrepreneurs through the Chamber of Commerce in New Jersey. That's like through a grant. So it's basically free for the attendance. And I don't know anything about business. Like I'm very confident in my business in terms of the content I do, but I don't know shit about running a business. So I was like, let me just apply to this. I like didn't even know anything about it. I ended up getting it. So I started the class, which I'm so happy about. And I love it so much. And through that, I was able to attend after everything was like sold out and everything. And like it was a coveted event. The like kickoff party at the American Dream Mall, which I can't fucking stand the name or the mall. I had never been there. I'd never set foot there at all. I still call that place the Meadowlands. You know what I mean? So I just was like, oh, whatever. But like I went, it was an amazing event. It was coveted. Like everyone wanted to go. And it was like amazing food. Like you got drinks. There was like all this stuff, all these vendors, amazing people. I got the scarf. This scarf was so coveted. New York, New Jersey, but like I will take a Sharpie to the New York part because it's fucking New Jersey, bitch. Okay, it's New Jersey. So amazing stuff. And I got to just like schmooze and like, I wore my little fit, which I was like freaking out about because I'm like, what do I wear? It's a cocktail event. It said cocktail event, or it didn't even say cocktail party. So that's what I was like, should I wear a dress? Whatever. Long story short, I wore my fancy occasion kit, which is my embroidered Italy kit with paper bag waist pants and heels. A bitch busted out the heels for that one. I got a picture with the like official like thing, like the little like statue thing of it was just so good. I felt like such like a G, I was like, oh, this is my life now, rubbing elbows with FIFA. So nothing concretely, came out of it after, but it was just like really cool to be there. Now it's like started the ball rolling. Whenever there's stuff, I'm gonna be there, right? Because now I'm in the chamber. Because that's part of the thing. You get like all these perks with this class. So amazing stuff. So I got to do that. And like, what is my life? I was like, I gotta talk about this on the pod, right? And then a little bit just to talk about the fact that the most prestigious international tournament in the world is starting tonight, and that is Copa America. Again, so much ignorance around. I hate the fact that it's here. I'm glad I get to go to a game at least one game. I might try to squeeze in another or two. And at one point I plan on going to so many more, and like life again, whatever. I'm going to at least the Uruguay game, the first Uruguay game. The second, I guess. There's been so much ignorance in a lot of these like media people, like people who are like, oh, the winningest team is Argentina. Ma'am, sir, I am Argentinian and I'm also Uruguayan. I'm Argehuasha, right? Welcome to my podcast if you don't know me. I'm so happy that Argentina has 15 copas. But let's not forget that Uruguay has 15 too, and they reached 15 before Argentina did. They won their 15th in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, and Argentina just won it. So like, don't say they're the winningest team. They're tied at the top, and they didn't even reach the top first. Everyone forgets about fucking Uruguay, and it kills me. It really fucking pisses me off. So it's okay. We're underdogs, and it is what it is. But like, so if you asked me today, between the two of them, who I would choose to win this one, it would be Uruguay, because I want them to reach the next milestone first. And if it can't be Uruguay, let it be Argentina. No one else. That's it. There's literally no one else I could stand winning. Brazil sucks anymore. So that's not even a threat. And there's literally no one else I could like truly, like, arrogance aside, I don't see anyone else winning it, but anything can happen in a tournament. And Euro is just stupid. The Euros are stupid. I don't even like every single game has at least one fascist, if not two fascist teams, and defined by like the fascism, not the colonialism, because then you really can't root for anyone if you look at that. So I would love for it to not be Germany. I guess I'm rooting for Italy, for Spain. I wouldn't hate to see France win it. I really wanted Scotland to win that first game at least, like Scotland's been doing okay. So if it was an underdog, it would have to be a real non-fascist one like Scotland, but that's really hard to find. But there's been a lot of like fights and shit like that. It's been like kind of crazy, which is interesting, right? Because the way that you talk about South American football fans as being so violent and whatever, no one has the same narrative around European fans, but there's been literal, like, I mean, bloody, like, fights, like fights in the streets. Also, some of the most fun banter has been around food, like the snapping of the spaghetti in front of Italian fans. Like, how much more insulting can you get? I just love it. I just love it. So we'll see what happens with Euro. It's been fun. I've been watching every game, of course, but yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. I missed y'all. Love y'all. I'm hoping to get on schedule now, so send me your feedback if it's good, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. And that was another episode of Real Francamente. Thank you so much for listening. I am literally obsessed with y'all. Please share with your like-minded friends. Follow us on socials at Real Francamente. Leave likes, comments. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube. Leave comments, ratings, and reviews if you love us there. Check out our website for more content, www.realfrancamente.com. We'll catch you on the next one. And as always, bias your football content.